I had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire wrong. So our orders get all backed up. We're drowning in paperwork, then actually drowning, careless fighting off sharks with a stapler, and pirates are pillaging the office copier, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant goes beyond the resume, using unique insights to deliver a smarter shortlist. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
This episode is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. What do you bring to a holiday party? Simple. A bottle of Casamigos. Because nothing gets the party started like a Casamigos margarita, which isn't just for summer. In fact, it's the perfect pour all year round. Casamigos is the gift that always feels right, because anything goes with my Casamigos. Please drink responsibly. Imported by Casamigos Spirits Company, White Plains, New York. Casamigos Tequila, 40% alcohol by volume.
Did my card go through?
Oh no.
Your small business depends on its internet, so switch to Verizon Business. And you could get LTE business internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data for unlimited business.
There we go.
Get the internet you need at the price you want. Verizon Business. Starting price for LTE business internet, 25 megabits per second, unlimited data plan with select Verizon Business smartphone plan savings. Terms apply.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
Welcome in, everybody. This is the Gut Reaction of the Falcons podcast. It is Sunday afternoon after the Atlanta Falcons just blew another game to the New York Jets. Not another game to the New York Jets, but just blew another game. This time to the New York Jets. And it seems like it's a different problem every time they lose, but there always seems to be a recurring factor in there. Special teams. For me, I throw this one right at the feet of the special teams units. I put it in the write-up I just posted. The definition of insanity. One of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That you keep having Marquise Williams coach this unit for 4 years now? And he keeps running Jamal Agnew out there at punt returner and kick returner is insane. It's insanity. I feel bad for Agnew at this point. He looks terrified and he's getting blasted. It's unsafe for him to be out there. It's so bad. He's seeing ghosts. Get him off the field. My God, this isn't a difficult game. All right, let's hit on some of the comments. I want to say hello to some folks that have come in early. First person I'm going to say hello to is a new member, and it just says G Bergen. Hopefully I got your name right on that. So thank you for being a new member. In the description of the chat on YouTube, it will show you how you can become a member as well and support the show and everything that we do here. Help us do more of these types of videos. So thank you so much for doing that. Rusty was in first. Rusty will probably be in again. I'll be shocked if he's not. Rusty, I know you're mad because I've been saying this. We beat J.J. McCarthy, Marcus Mariota, Josh Allen, and Tyler Shuck. The exception of that bunch is Josh Allen. The defense isn't as good as everyone thinks. Our culture is losing, and we're losers. The truth hurts. This time, you said you rephrase this, and the defense isn't as good as everyone thinks. I don't know what everyone thinks. I think the defense is about average in the NFL with a high risk, high reward type of philosophy right now with a bunch of young players. I actually wrote it up. Xavier Watts, we've seen this before. He bites down on a crossing route and the post comes in behind him for a touchdown. I don't remember who we saw that before against, but we saw it again for their first long touchdown to tie it at 14-14 today. And then later on, I think maybe the next drive or right after the Falcons had gone ahead 17-14, he crashes down and breaks up a pass. And then in the fourth quarter, he's back in position on that same play, that same backside post route. You see like Mike Hughes fall down or something on that. On a post route, he needs safety help. So when you cheat down and you see two safeties on a receiver and someone going in behind them, someone's in the wrong position. That's on the safety. And Watts comes in and makes that play. If you're going to play a bunch of young players, you're going to have those type of rookie mistakes. I can live with that. He's going to make some big plays. Wouldn't trade Xavier Watts. Wouldn't want anyone else out there in there for him right now. But those are the kind of things that are going to happen. And we mentioned early, Rusty, the games won't be boring. And they're not. It's not death by 1,000 cuts out there like it was last year. It's big plays on defense, big plays against on defense. That said, defense didn't lose this game, dude. This was on special teams and offense, mostly special teams on that one. John, thank you for being a member. He says, I didn't get to watch and listen to it on Chat Sports. This team is a freaking joke. It's, you're not wrong. I say like, we're the laughing stock of the NFL. I don't think enough people even care to be considered anything of the NFL, but no one takes this team seriously. There's one team maybe right now in the last decade that the Falcons can look down on, and it's the Jets. And you just lost to Tyrod Taylor, who's about my age. I told y'all this week. I first saw him at my first Army All-American game in 2004. That was almost 22 years ago. Lost to Tyrod Taylor. Made him look pretty solid out there. And Curtis said, and what's interesting is I'm going to get to this, and then I'll sum up. I'll sum up now in case I forget. One of the things about this is the first 5 people that come in, y'all are all complaining about different things. That's a bad sign. It was the offense. No, it was the special teams. No, it was the coaching. No, it was the receivers. No, it was the defense. Oh, that pretty much means things need to change, don't they? You're all right. It's never just one thing. You're all right. It's not just one thing, which usually means one thing's got to change for sure, and that's everything. Curtis says, our defense is what kept us in this game. Until like one of the last drives, the Jets were route 200 yards for the whole game. The offense is horrible, and Cousins isn't any better. Plenty of times where we could have run instead of throwing the ball. As of right now, we only have one wide receiver. Yeah, he ain't out there. And Curtis follows up, and thank you for being a member, Curtis. He said, I'd keep Jeff Ulbrich and lose the offensive coaching staff and Morris. Yeah, and if you make that change, I don't know if Ulbrich will want to stay. It's funny that the parallels I'm seeing right now between Auburn and the Falcons are just insane. They're so close between finding different ways to lose and, we'd like to keep our defensive coordinator, and your offense is just playing terribly and losing games, and they just keep finding new ways to lose. Well, Auburn just hired a new coach today. They got rid of their guy. Falcons have to be coming up, right? And as Sam says, good to see you, Sam. He says, it's just not a good team. Marquise Williams should have to walk back, then get fired tonight. Again, I think it's almost a little weird at this point. How does he still have a job? He wasn't hired by Raheem Morris. So was he placed on that staff? Was he told this is somebody you need to keep? What's the relationship there? Why? Why? I mean, it's that you have Jamal Agnew out there as a fireable offense. To consistently give up another 83-yard kickoff return, a 16-yard punt return, and a 16-yard punt return in crunch time is field goal position. 1 first down here in field goal position with these guys. Even though it's like kicking a bowling ball in that kind of weather out there, Folk, knuckleballs one in from 56 yards. After he didn't quite have the leg from 55 earlier, he knuckles one in. I don't understand. I don't have answers for you. It's one of those things where you say, this doesn't make any sense. The Falcons do a lot of things that don't make any sense, but this really doesn't make any sense. Something else must be going on. You ever see someone get really mad about something that doesn't really matter? Something else is really bothering them? What's really wrong? What's really bothering you? What's really going on with Marquise Williams? How does he have a job? I don't understand. I really don't. There's something else there. I'm sure of it. Michael, thank you for being a member. He comes, he says, I can't do it anymore. I don't know what I did to get the karma of liking such a crappy, heartbreaking team. Proximity, osmosis. That's what it was for me. I grew up here. It's my hometown team, man. That's what it was for me. And Austin said, like I said, y'all are all mentioning different things because there's so many different problems with this team. And that is a little bit for the Terry Fontenot backers. When we want to talk about depth, Mike Hughes isn't good enough. The defense doesn't have the players as far as, the depth, the offensive line, the $60 million, $100 million to the quarterback. Who drafted Michael Penix? There's a lot of people out on him now. No wide receivers out there. Terry's got to go too, y'all. He's 4-8. It was not his fault. Okay, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll get back to it again. There will be people in the comments that will make an excuse for every bad thing that has happened to the Atlanta Falcons and then credit him for every good thing that they've done. It doesn't work like that. When you're a general manager, you get general results. You're 4-8 in your 5th season with 5 straight losing seasons. Y'all, he's gone too. The wide receiver room blew this game. Yeah. I'm not going to, Kirk was okay. He looked like an aging backup quarterback. He was okay. The thing is, though, for, the Kirk Cousins lovers, listen up, because I'll get a few of you in my comments that are completely irrational. I don't know how much better he really could have done. The weaponry out there is atrocious. God bless David Sills, but he's a 4 at best because he wasn't even a 4 coming into this league. Devin Tompkins had the first 2 non-running back touches. The first 2 of the wide receivers and tight ends. Anybody not named Bijan Robinson or Tyler Algier, Devin Tompkins had the first 2 touches. And one of them was by design on a jet sweep. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? Yusef says, Scott, no discussion. Wide receiver, first pick. Yeah, it's just such a huge need. It really is. They got away with going 13 last week, and they came out in 12. That's what I expected. Sills played okay. Mooney played okay. They can't keep coming out in 13. It's a gimmick offense. And with a little bit of time, Aaron Glenn in 5 minutes to prepare for it was going to shut it down. So they went to 12. They need 2. They need 2 wide receivers, Yusef. They need 2, not just 1, 2. You need Drake. And the thing is I'm starting to see a little bit of Drake that I saw from Julio, which was they use Julio Jones like a running back, and he'd have 6 catches for 55 yards and have taken 17 hits by the time they get down into the red zone, and he's beat up. How come he doesn't have more touchdowns? Because he's over there huffing and puffing, getting ice bags on his entire body because he just got the whole team down there. They use him like a running back. They've got to have more wide receivers. They absolutely do. Austin G.A. Bully, good to see you. He says, Terry McKay, this is one right before this. He says, I hate to see it, but we need to start over. Trade Bijan for 3 first-rounders. Dude, come on. Trade Drake for 2 first-rounders. Jesse Bates for a 3rd-rounder. Cut Mooney and Ellis. You don't have to cut Ellis. Ellis is a free agent at the end of the year if you don't want him back. But Christian McCaffrey, when he was traded, I think he was traded for a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and a 5th. They got 4 picks for him. Drake would probably be worth 2 first-rounders. If Sauce Gardner can get 2 first-rounders, Drake London can probably get 2 first-rounders. But you might be able to get the equivalent of a first-rounder for Bijan Robinson. Maybe not. I don't think that's necessarily who you want to trade, though. I mean, when you watch this team, do you really feel, other than wide receiver, that it's personnel right now? Do you think they lost this game because of the personnel? Because Jake Matthews got beat on one, because Ryan Newsel isn't a good enough center, because Eli Wilkinson is a 3rd-team offensive tackle, because Kirk Cousins is a 37-year-old fossil. Do you feel like, because David Onyemata's, he's just playing out the stretch. I'm making all this up, just the names. But do you really feel like it was personnel on this? I don't. Not against the 2-9 Saints. Not me. It's got to start somewhere else. Mike Harvey, thanks for being a member, my friend. He says, well, at least I have the dogs. It's embarrassing. Brother, I have trouble watching college football right now. It's so slow. And it's just, I watched Auburn, Alabama. That Alabama team 10 years ago would be 5-7. The product, when everybody has money, they've brought everybody down a notch, and the quality of the play has just deteriorated, and then the games take 5 hours to play. So good luck, Georgia. It's a tough watch for me these days. Let's see. Trinity says we should trade for Shedeur after the season and trade Kirk Cousins to the Browns. Yeah, you're not going to trade. Kirk Cousins isn't going to be traded. there's just no way. If they could have traded him, they would have traded him last year, and they couldn't. And because nobody was going to give the Falcons any money for him, and they owed him, $35 million, 25 in guaranteed salary, I think. No one's going to trade for Kirk Cousins, or all they would have already traded for him. And I don't know about
The Who's Down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The Browns are going to give Shedeur Sanders a crack at it. They're not going to want to trade him. So, yeah, we'll see. Chris Turner, he says, let's leave Raheem in New Jersey. Yeah, and God bless the Jets fans that made it out to that game. What miserable conditions. Looked like it was about 35 degrees and slushing out there. And they made a big deal out of Raheem being from that area. I'm like, okay, let's just let him stay there then. It's a homecoming for him. Yeah, let him stay there. Art, good to see you. Thanks for being a member. He says the Falcons require one of two things. Fans require one of two things. Minimum anticipation of playoffs or anticipation of your first round pick. We have neither, and fans might well turn this franchise off the next 2 years. I'm going to add a big third for you on that one, because the biggest one is hope. Hope is the number one driver of sports fandom, is hope. And I'm okay with not having a first round pick, based on the return. I've said before, if anybody wants to say, if any Falcons fan says to you, oh man, then they go screw around to have a first round pick, just ask them, well, would you trade James Pierce for a first round pick? Because I'm 99% sure you could. You could trade James Pierce right now. He moved up to 5 sacks today. And he should have had another one. That'll put him tied for first in the NFL with teammate Jalen Walker. Do you know what those type of guys go for? It goes for more than a first round pick. So ask them, do you want to trade James Pierce for a first round pick? You don't? Then STFU. Then shut up. You could get one. No problem. You want a first round pick? Trade James Pierce for one. Easy peasy. Oh, you don't? Then hush. He's outplayed his draft position of number 26. If he was in this draft, when they do a redraft of the 2025 NFL draft, James Pierce Jr. ain't lasting to 26. I promise you that. When they go back and do these again, we ain't doing that. So, Art, what I'm saying about this, as far as the hope for the future, I love watching these young guys play. I love it. I love watching Dorless, Rook, Xavier Watts, the good and the bad. He had both today. That's okay. He's a rookie. Jalen Walker, lining up in different places, coming in and breaking up a pass, coming straight up the middle. James Pierce beating guys one-on-one, coming off the edge. I like it. I like watching that. They need help. They need a lot more than that, obviously. And you don't have the first round pick, and it's going to make for some awkward March conversations when we do the podcast. So bear with us on that. So, Matt, good to see you. And thanks for being a member. He says, it's just sickening. Calder, he says, at least I didn't renew my PSL this year. You're probably not the only one based on all the marketing emails I get from them. Corey says, in case anyone is wondering, this is the worst loss of the year. There's so many to choose from. The Dolphins one was the worst for me. That's when I kind of was all out. The Jets are now 3-2 in their last 5. It's bad. Justin says, should the next GM strip this team for picks? I don't think so. Here's what I would do, y'all. Do you want to trade Drake? If someone offers me, everybody, you should pick up the phone for everybody. Hello? Nick's on the phone with the Denver Broncos. They want to offer you 2 first-rounders and a third for Drake London. All right, I got to think about it. Franchise receivers aren't easy to come by. I got to at least think about it. Bijan Robinson, and a key to this is going to be, do I think I can re-sign them? If I can't, then I need to trade them. But, the Kansas City Chiefs were able to move on from Tyreek Hill. Yes, I know it's the Kansas City Chiefs. They have a lot of other things, but you get a lot of other things, not by trading up every other pick, but by accumulating assets. And Drake would be worth 3 big-time assets. People want to use the phrase draft capital. He'd be worth 2 firsts and change, more than likely, on something like that. But here's what I say, because there's not a ton of tradable assets, except for guys that I promise you don't want to give up. Young, cost-controlled, premium position players. Drake London, Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr. Those are your tradable assets. You don't want to trade those guys. However, if you come in as a new GM, you hang out of free agency for a year. That's how you accumulate draft picks. If I stay out of free agency for a year, I can play the comp pick game. The Falcons do not have a comp pick for Drew Dahlman because they signed Divine Diablo. Now, Diablo's been a great pick, but if they had gambled and not signed him for a couple of weeks and signed a linebacker later, they would have been eligible for a comp pick. Diablo canceled out Dahlman. If Caden Ellis is going to walk, if Kyle Pitts is going to walk, if David Onyemata is going to walk, if Leonard Floyd is going to walk, if Tyler Algier is going to walk, there's 5 guys that could possibly be worth comp picks in 2027. Do you think next year is your year? And then sit out. Get your salary cap right. Sit out. That's how you start to accumulate some picks. That's my idea anyway, for whatever that's worth on that. Michael Baxter, appreciate you coming in. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. He says it's time to clean house for the Falcons. I agree wholeheartedly. And, the only one that should be safe is the guy that owns a team. I mean, because he can't fire himself. Everybody else should be uncomfortable. I hear about, what a great place it is, and didn't want to upset the culture. The culture is losing right now. It's nice having a monopoly, isn't it? I joked about this with my friend. We talk about this all the time. We were the ones who were saying, what a great place it is to work. Your customers. It's like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? What's wrong with my product? I'm Arthur Blank, owner of the Atlanta Falcons. What's wrong with my product? I got people lining up to pay me money. My profits are up. My value of my company is up. What's the problem? My employees are well paid and happy. I'm running a great business. My customers aren't all that happy, but they don't go away. I've got a monopoly for the number one sport in the United States. I've got a built-in fan base. What's the problem? Do you think a business guy who wants everybody to love him in the building sees a problem? That's a question we need to ask. Do you think Arthur Blank notices there's a problem? I'm sure he does. But again, the people I work with day to day have big smiles on their face. They're well paid. I'm making a ton of money. My net value's up. Profits are up. Everybody's happy, except the 2 million Falcons fans. But hey, they keep paying me anyway. So what's the big deal? Should all be gone, Michael. Clean house. Juan says it'll be a decade before we see the playoffs. Ask the Jets. The Falcons are tied for the longest playoff list streak, and I believe with the Panthers, who seem to be turning a corner after making a good hire, sticking behind a young quarterback, and got a big, big win today against the LA Rams. I think they're tied with them for, let's see, I lose count. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 7 years without playoffs, and the Jets are double that. They're like 15 years. So it'll just be the Jets and the Falcons. The Jets have gone almost another decade from what the Falcons have without missing the playoffs. See what that feels like. It's tough. Let's see here. Craig Carter says catch the ball. Yeah, there was a couple on there that, yeah, you need receivers. Let me see here. Is that Angel or Angel Crosswalker? Can you give me some hope that we can look forward to? I'm tired of this team. Yeah, I did. As far as, like I said, the young players, I like watching Bijan Robinson play, period. I just like watching him play football. He's not going anywhere. Free agency will be interesting. How big a player do you want to be in free agency? And can you wait and get second tier guys and not sign them in the first round of free agency and play the comp pick game? But again, you've got a pair of guys, you got tied for first, two guys tied for first in rookie with sacks. That's awesome. Xavier Watts looks like a really, really good player. Brandon Dorlus is coming into his own. Rook is okay. The jury's out, but he definitely has some tools. The athleticism is there. Who am I forgetting? Bill Bowman. Don't feel so great about Bowman right now. He hadn't been able to stay healthy all year, and then he tears his Achilles in walkthroughs. That one hurts. No pun intended. That one kind of sucks on there. Brian says, are you surprised? No, I'm not. I'm not surprised at all that they lost this game. The only thing that surprised me really was that they put I put the wrong score on the damn thing. I think I put 30-27. I need to change that. I lost count. Well, crap, I'm live. I need to make a change. I screwed up the score. Let me see if I can do that real quick while I'm still talking. What surprised me was all the offense, honestly. There was more offense than I was expecting on that. That did surprise me a little bit. Remember the last time the Falcons came up here in 23? What was it like, 12-9 was the final score on that? 30-27 loss. I did put 30-27 in here. Dumbass. So let me make this change real quick. Make it live. It's on SI and everything. It should at least be correct. Won't take but a second. Apologies, everybody. And then I doubled down and put it in there twice because you're an idiot. 27-24. If anybody ever wonders, yes, when you're saying, what is this idiot thinking? I'm thinking I'm an idiot. So you can, anything that you would say about me, I'm saying it worse. On that note, no, I'm not surprised. Rio, good to see you. Says the infuriating part about the season is that we're almost in every game. Like I said, it's like watching Auburn. I watch Auburn on Saturdays against Oklahoma, Texas A&M. These teams aren't any good. And Auburn's playing toe-to-toe with them and losing every time. It's the same thing. We find different ways to lose the same type of game. Rusty is right. We're talented losers. Yeah, there's holes in the team. But like I said, I'll ask you, did you really lose the game because of personnel? And Corey might have said today, if Agnew doesn't fumble, we win, but who cares? And this may not have been a direct answer to this question. It's a coaching decision to have Agnew out there. That, for me, that's where that is missed. Agnew has shown enough, or not shown enough, however you want to put that he doesn't need to be out there anymore at all. So that is a failure of the coaching staff that he is out there. That they can't seem to return a kick or cover a kick or a punt is also coaching, not personnel. If it wasn't, it wouldn't keep happening over and over and over again. 83-yard punt kick return, 16-yard punt return with the game on the line. Those are game losers right there. This one was, you lay it at the feet of the special teams. The offense wasn't good, but it did enough to win. The defense did enough to win. The special teams did not. Again. Oh, let's see here. Todd, good to see you. How can the Monday meeting have any positives? How does Blank keep his job? Well, Blank's the owner, so he keeps his job. Any positives? Bijan looked great. Nice play from David Sills. We finally, for the third time in 5 years, got to see Kyle Pitts catch a ball in stride on a slant, and it's a thing of beauty. Oh, wow, this is why they drafted him. That was 5 years ago. This is why they drafted him. Look at him running away from DBs. Wow, you hit a big guy in motion, he might actually extend and run away from some people instead of making him turn around and catch it in traffic all the time. Yes. Hit him in stride. Ugh. Corey says, how is Steve Wilkes not a head coach? I don't know. He did a good job with the Panthers. He really did. Rodney says Arthur needs to sell this team. Yeah, that's not going to happen. You're just going to have to wait on Father Time on that one, my friend. He's undefeated. Father Time is. And Corey says, we've been kicking the ball in the end zone all day. As soon as we don't, they break one. And hell, that's just giving the ball in the 35. Falcons average starting position is about the 24. Did you ever notice when the Falcons are covering a kick, they get to the 25 before you really even see anybody from the Falcons? Yet Jamal Agnew is getting blasted at the 22-yard line every single time. What's your name here? And Kalaka? I'm not sure. A-N-D? Anyway, he says, what an incompetent franchise. That sums it up a little bit. Todd said, as long as, the big picture, as long as Smith's running the ball, as McKay is running the thing, things will never change. Let me see here. Call me a fake fan, but after we lost to the Dolphins, I actively rooted against this team so we can fire Raheem. Hopefully it soon's DZN RO. There's some of that. You want your team to win or you wouldn't be mad watching them lose. But there's also some of it that's you're almost relieved. You're like, good. I don't want them to eke to an 8-9 record and have to see this again only to have it be worse. Put us out of our misery. I get it. I'm not going to tell you how to fan. I'm not. They'll say, don't tell other people how to fan. Let me see here. And Prince says we're tanking without a first-round pick. I didn't see the inactives. Was Kadero Hodge a healthy scratch? He might have been, but they don't always give injury designations for players. They're a little misleading like that. I gave him hell for that against the Colts. Why is Mikael London out of this game against one of the best running teams in the NFL? The same week you waived Taquan Graham, and then Sam Roberts gets hurt in the first series. You're down 3 defensive linemen, and they rush for 300 yards. Duh. Well, come next week, Mikael London's on the injury report with an injury designation. When did that happen? So we don't know on that one. So with Kadero Hodge, I know he hasn't been in the lineup for playing. Dylan Drummond's been ahead of him. Casey Washington has been MIA. Remember that guy? Man, I mean, is that what's going on there? Where you could just say, I totally whiffed. Like, oh yeah, he's going to play 200 snaps in the first 4 games. He's played 5 since. What's going on there? I mean, he wasn't worth a damn, but that hasn't stopped him from running Jamal Agnew out there. It hasn't stopped him from running Darnell Mooney out there. So what happened with Casey Washington? Because not being good enough doesn't seem to be reason to get benched. Or was it just such a bad whiff that they had to? Oh, we had to. On that note, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here. Apologize if I miss you if you come in late. I feel like, I'm 30 minutes behind on the comments as I'm going through these. That I do want to catch up with and try and get us a little more current with some of the people that have come in and just remind y'all, hey, be a subscriber if you can. It's just a huge help if you can join as a subscriber to the YouTube channel. There's 2 tiers, Nest and Perch, and I do try and make it, other than just the support that it shows for the show and helps me do more of these. I do try and provide extra content for you and make it worth your while. So give it a chance. But Kevin says bring in Todd Monken as head coach. He'll get some looks. I'm also very interested to find out more about Kubiak up in Seattle. You know what? Who's coming to town next week? Clint Kubiak. Don't let him leave. It doesn't work like that, but I would do what I can, do all the legal tampering I possibly could, as far as talking with his agent and say, why don't you go look at this and that? And oh, by the way, have you noticed all the zeros in the owner's bank account? He's like the 10th richest owner in the NFL. So one of that type of stuff. Clown says, what about Bobby Slowick? He was a hot name after 1 year with CJ and then got fired the next year. That's how fluky it can be with them. That's how fluky it can be with offensive coordinators. Corey says, Scott, again, it's 3rd and short, and we have no running back in the formation. Well, he's just split out wide. Don't have any wide receivers. I know what you mean, though. Go 5 wide. I remember seeing that it was a 3rd and 3 and a 4th and 3, and there's no threat of the run. And we mentioned there's more than one way to stop a rush with the running back. I don't have to be a great blocker if I'm a threat out of the backfield. Now there's no threat out of the backfield, swinging it wide or whatnot. It's all bad, guys. And some of it is personnel. Again, to the Kirk Cousins fans, I'll say, you can disagree with. I saw a game manager out there who played an efficient game who isn't really good enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So be it. Well, he's better than this and this and this. Fine. It's not a comparison. Michael Penix wasn't playing good enough earlier either. It's not about which or which. It's about, does a 38-year-old, $60 million quarterback make sense for this team in 2026? Not no, but hell no. Of course not. Okay, well then he's not good enough. And if you get the Falcons in a must-pass situation, 3rd and more than 1, they're done for. They're just toast. They're 29th in the NFL in 3rd down conversions this year. 29th. Talk about taking a step back. And again, I'm not blaming all that on the quarterback. Who's he throwing the ball to? Darnell Mooney and David Sills? Couldn't find Charlie Warner today? It's rough. Trenex Baby says, we want Bill Belichick. No, we don't. I don't. We want Bill. We want Bill. The only team that he was in serious conversations with 2 years ago was the Atlanta Falcons. Has he done anything where would you say his stock has been in the next 2 years, in the next 24 months? Higher or lower? I'd say lower. I'd say lower on that one. Mike, thanks again for the super. He says, first question about getting rid of special teams coach. Oh, Raheem says, we don't make emotional decisions. Got to get better. Yeah, it's not emotional. It's not emotional. They've been terrible. Last week, I did this with the members only one last week. I was listening to Zach Robinson talk nonsense stats about Michael Penix and the pistol. As far as, he's 3rd or 4th in the league in yards per attempt. No, he's not. He was like 22nd because of the incompletions dragging it down. I was like, okay, maybe out of play action. So I went over to PFF and looked at it play action. He's 10th out of play action. And they only run 54 play action passes with Penix at 6 per game in 9 games, which puts him like 24th in attempts, in play action attempts. So if he's so good at play action, why won't you run more play action? It's both sides of your mouth here. Do you either not know what you're talking about or you're intentionally dishonest? One of the two. Either one of them's bad. Same thing here with the special teams. I heard Wes Durham, who I like Wes Durham, talk about, they just stopped kicking the ball to Jamal Agnew, one of the most dangerous guys in the NFL. He's 25th, 28th maybe. It's 25.0. I think he's 28th in the NFL in kickoff return average. He's not any good. He's been awful. He's got 4 fumbles and 40 touches this year. If you had a running back with 4 fumbles and 40 touches, you think he'd see the ball again? What the hell is the matter with y'all? This isn't like deep diving in analytics. This is basic football. He fumbles the ball every 10 times he touches it. Guess what? I don't want him to touch it anymore. Good God, man. That gets you emotional. I'll tell you that. Special teams. We don't make emotional decisions. Okay, how about making logical ones? If I'm in the pistol and I run at 87% out of the pistol, maybe I need to change every time I'm in the pistol. Maybe I don't need to run it every time. That's not emotional.
Purina believes no one should have to make the impossible choice between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Through the Purple Leash Project, Purina is helping create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to learn more.
'Tis the season for all your holiday favorites, like A Very Jonas Christmas Movie and Home Alone on Disney+.
Should I burn down the joint? I don't think so.
Then Hulu has National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
We're all in for a very big Christmas treat.
All of these and more streaming this holiday season. And right now, save big with our special Black Friday offer. Bundle Disney Plus and Hulu for just $4.99 a month for 1 year. Savings compared to current regular monthly price. Ends 12/1. Offer for ad-supported Disney Plus Hulu bundle only. Then $12.99 a month or then current regular monthly price. 18 plus terms apply.
Feel bad for whoever's in analytics. Are you telling these guys and they're just not listening to you? Or do you just not have a very good analytics department, a statistics department? Who's your, guy on the side with the MIT guy with the economics degree and the mathematics degree helping y'all make some decisions? Because some of the basic stuff between that and clock management, you're just failing miserably. Clown says Mike McCarthy would be an excellent fit. Let's see here, and not calling play action for Penix. Yeah, it's 6 per game. He had in nine games. He had 54 play actions, which put him like 24th most or least of quarterbacks in the NFL on play action. Let's see. I don't know who we're talking about here. Mr. Brightside. So Penix can't get blamed for anything, but Kirk can. I think y'all are having an argument within by yourselves. Guys, this isn't a Penix and Kirk thing. Neither one of them have been good enough this year. And again, I'll say 100 times over, I think of the passing game as a collective. So I'm not saying Kirk Cousins isn't good enough. I'm not saying Michael Penix isn't good enough, because right now I know the system around them isn't good enough. Until that improves, I don't know anything about Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix and what they're capable of doing. Right now, my first move would be Zach Robinson. If I'm the new president of this team, I have a new offensive coordinator. That would be my first move. Oh, at least one of them on that note. Let's see here. Yeah, y'all are arguing. There's really no point in arguing Penix and Cousins. You're doing that in the comments, and you can really just stop. It's not either of them right now. Neither one of them were very good this year. It's okay. The difference is Penix may get better. Cousins doesn't have enough time. Like I said, if Cousins could take this team to the playoffs, not this team. Not this team. And a $60 million quarterback for a 4-8 team is a luxury you can't afford. So he needs to get going. Just hitting on some of my takeaways. I talked about Kirk Cousins being efficient. I talked about the fallacy that, and I actually had to look it up. I thought Jonathan Vilma had been doing a better job recently, but he had a tough game today. They kept putting the stat up there that Cousins had 1 interception. When was this interception? I was like, I don't remember it. And I kept looking it up, couldn't find it. But, they're talking about, it just baffles me how, Bijan Robinson doesn't touch the ball more. Bijan Robinson in touches per game is 5th in the NFL. How many more times do you want him to touch it? He's 5th. There's 4 guys ahead of him, and none of them have, let's see here. Let's see. The 4 guys ahead of him, Christian McCaffrey is at 24 touches per game. Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, and James Cook. Those are the 4 guys ahead of him. And none of them have a guy behind him as good as Tyler Algier. I don't really want Bijan Robinson touching the ball. He touched it 30 times today, 28 times today. Christian McCaffrey is at 20, just under 25, and he's 2 ahead of anybody else at 25. I don't want 30 touches a game from Bijan Robinson. I want him not to have to touch the ball 30 times per game because I have other weapons to give the ball to. Unfortunately, there weren't a whole lot of options out there for sure. There weren't a ton of options out there for the Falcons, which is really sad to say after 6 first-round draft picks in 5 years, that there weren't enough options and a ton of free agent money. It's bad. Todd Mullis, thank you for the super chat. He said, we know the Browns of the NFC. I wouldn't even just say now. I mean, the Falcons haven't been good. You must be in your like 30s or younger, because prior to the Matt Ryan era, when Arthur Blank first took the team and they had a nice run, the Falcons and Saints were like the two worst teams in the NFL, and Buccaneers. I think those were the bottom three. So the Falcons, if you grew up in the 2005 to 2015, your view of what this team has been is very different than everybody else's. They aren't just the Browns of the NFC. They're one of those teams that people look down on and say, man, I'm glad we're not the Browns. The Saints had a nice run under Peyton, but that was an anomaly for them too. The Buccaneers have stepped up where they put some consistency around. The Cardinals, what the Lions have been before these last couple of years. So, and Mr. Brightside just saying, neither Cousins or Penix is going to thrive in the system. No, and that's the problem. They've got to get that stuff. They've got to make a change at offensive coordinator. If they don't change offensive coordinator, it doesn't matter who the hell they get at quarterback. Yeah, I agree, Kenneth. They're just beating a dead horse. There is no Cousins versus Michael Penix Jr. Cousins has no future with this team. Penix still might. That's the only argument. Not who should have been playing all year. I mean, it wasn't going to matter. It really wasn't going to matter. John says the last time, and it jumped on me, so I'm showing Drazen. I'll read you too. John says the last time Atlanta was good was during the Great Depression. Drazen says, so many needs. Where does one begin? Rams have our first round pick. Well, luckily, edge for the first time ever in franchise history isn't a need for this team, because you used that first round pick and got a guy who is going to be finished top 3 in rookie of the year. So that's okay. But wide receiver is a big need. Cornerback is a big need. Defensive tackle is a big need. Offensive tackle is also a bigger need than people might want to think. But between the draft and free agency, I think you need 2 wide receivers and 2 corners. I think and then you need to find a 330-pound space eater at defensive tackle on those guys. As Terry says, nose tackle. Yeah, I'm with you on that one for sure. Juan, good to see you. We went to the playoffs when the offensive coordinator had experience. Yeah, we tried to look over, hey, is it okay if you've got a rookie offensive coordinator? It's not as bad as you might think, because you got a 36-year-old quarterback with a dozen years of experience. And that's the Matt Ryan bias that we have, where we saw Matt Ryan have success with different coordinators because he was so good. And he's underappreciated, in my opinion. So we're like, okay, Cousins is a veteran. He'll have it easier. You can help break in a new offensive coordinator. And it's just been bad. The hiring of 2 rookie coordinators. Jimmy Lake was bad. Zach Robinson didn't seem this bad last year. But then the handcuffs went on Michael Penix. One of the reasons we were so excited about having Michael Penix was he was a gunslinger, the gunslinging mentality that he showed as a rookie. And then the first 5 games, he's not throwing the ball beyond the sticks. What the hell is going on? There's just some of those things I don't understand. I really don't. Why aren't we using play action? Why aren't we throwing the ball down the field more to back the safeties out of the box to give more room to Bijan Robinson? The whole idea is you want more room. You can't do that unless you push the ball down the field. And no, you don't need a 4-2-5 wide receiver to push the ball down the field. You just don't. Jay Wybeck, special teams have really cost us bad this year. Oh, horribly. Zane missed a field goal today. Tough field goal. Okay, you go 1 for 2 in those conditions at 50+. You had a pretty good day. Kickoff coverage, awful. And poor Bradley Pinion, I think he's been a pretty good directional punter this year. I think he's done a pretty good job of keeping guys in around the 10-yard line when he's had that opportunity. but the coverage units have been awful, just awful. You've gone through 3 kickers. Why do you need to bring in 4 kickers, including Lenny Craig, to find one guy who, if you're not happy with Koo, to find one that's actually kicked in the NFL for more than a game or 2? T-Dub, has Raheem lost this team? I tell you what, I saw less effort today than I have in recent games. It's a good question. I saw a team that was playing in miserable conditions against a bad opponent on the road that looked like they didn't want to be out there. And if they show up like that against Seattle next week, I'd say embarrass them, but there's been plenty of embarrassments going on. Seattle will kick the crap out of them if that's how they show up against Seattle. The Jets are a terrible football team. What's that say about Atlanta? What's that say about the Falcons? Falcons aren't any better. They're 4-8 for a reason. They're a game ahead of the Jets now and don't have the tiebreaker. Let's see here. He says he's never had the team. I don't necessarily agree with that as far as like, will they play hard for him? I've seen this team play hard. I really have. But I didn't see it as much today. It's a good question. Do you remember when Too Tall Jones fell in the hole? It's been so bad for I actually don't. That had to be back at old Atlanta Fulton County when they had the multi-purpose stadium, and half the games were played in September were played across the baseball infield. The good old days, Corey. I don't remember that actually. It's been so bad for so long. People act as if the losing just started, but I remember it. Yeah, there was I'd have people ask me, you're upset the Falcons aren't really winning the playoffs or getting there. I'm like, dude, it took 45 years to have back-to-back winning seasons. It's the longest streak in professional sports history that it took them to have even back-to-back winning seasons on that. Just crazy. Appreciate you, Corey. Thanks for the super chat. A couple more here coming in. Let me see if I feel like, no, I think I've caught up on the supers on that one. So we are just about to call it a day. Yeah. John says the Jets traded their best players early in the year at FFS for goodness sake. Yeah, they tanked. They traded Quinnen Williams, beast of a defensive lineman. They traded Sauce Gardner, one of the 2 or 3 best corners in the league, who got hurt today. Hopefully he'll be all right. They're full on tank mode. They're I'm going to hit Tankathon real quick. Their draft picks are insane. They've got 4 top 50 picks next year. They've got the Colts. And what they got from the Cowboys, I think they got some 27s from the Cowboys too. They've got 4 top 50 picks next year. I think the Falcons have 5 picks overall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They have 13 picks, including 3 comp picks. And like, well, what the hell are you going to do with 13 picks? You bundle them together. You don't, when you've got 6 picks, you don't trade 2 for 1 like Terry Fontenot has done. And when you've got 13 picks, though, you bundle a couple together and move up. Or you move back again the next year. You're not always going to have 13 picks. Let's do a pick swap. Here, you want my 7th right now? You want my 6th right now? Give me your 5th next year. Pay a little interest on that. There you go. True Bro Down says, name one person on this team besides Caden Ellis you would say acts like a leader. Kirk Cousins. You can't, as a competitor, you can't really take Cousins all that seriously when a guy asks for a trade and then comes back. He wants to be gone, so you're not really tuning into him. I'd say Drake. I'd say Drake London out there. I'd say Drake and Jake. I would say Jesse has been lauded for his professionalism. Jesse Bates and Chris Lindstrom out there, and then Bijan leads by example. So does Tyler Algier. They lead by example out there on that one. In Clowns 1940 says, just talking about you don't have to have 4.2 speed to be a downfield guy. Says 100%, Scott. And thank you for the super. He says Puka Nacua ran a 4.5 in the combine. No, if I get a matchup, who had the 52-yard touchdown reception? Adonai Mitchell today? Adonai Mitchell ref. I always just type that in as far as reference. Let's see what if he ran the combine. He was a second-round pick, so he's probably there in 2024. Let's see what he ran at the combine. Snap counts, combine. He was fast. He was 6'2", 205, and he was a 4.34. So he could run, okay? But Drake's a downfield threat. When you've got single coverage with a guy like him, he's open. You can get pass interference penalties. You can get all kinds of good things happen when you throw the ball and you get him down there one-on-one. And if he's not open, if he's double covered, someone else is open. I don't have to have blazing speed to throw the ball downfield. It's silly. I said before, if my offense is predicated on Darnell Mooney being healthy, I got a crap offense. Well, they can't run this offense the way they want because they don't have their deep threat. Then my offense sucks. Period. On that note, Marcus D says, are we drafting a quarterback? I don't think so, unless it's in the later rounds. I take Diego Pavia in the 7th when I'm running PFF, just because he's a gamer and you're going to need a backup guy anyway. Todd Mullis comes in with a super chat. He says, how much of the roster building woes goes to Arthur Blank? Blair, I admitted to forcing a fix at QB no matter what. Blank admitted to forcing a fix at QB no matter what. I've seen different things on this. I mean, I get the impression that Blank, the one time I am 100% sure it was Arthur Blank driven was Deshaun Watson. Every other time we hear this, it's like, oh, well, no, it was Blank that wanted Cousins and that wanted Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr. It was Blank that drafted Michael Penix Jr. despite protests from the team and with his bad knees. And it was Blank that did everything bad in the world. And if it wasn't Blank, it was Todd McKay. And it was Terry who drafted Jalen Walker and Tyler Algier and somebody else that wanted Richie Grant. Then Terry will be scapegoated. Okay? 5 years in a row as a general manager with the losing team, you're 4-8, and you're not in a great salary cap position. You are fired. It's not his fault. Doesn't matter. Then he'll take the blame. He'll get paid millions and millions of dollars for it. So forcing a fix at the quarterback, I'm under the impression that they had to sell him on staying out of quarterback hell and trying to get the long term. And that's not how they sold Kirk Cousins to come to Atlanta. That's why they called him before the pick was announced. We got to call Kirk. We got to call Kirk and tell him that we're about to make this pick. It was poorly handled. It was poorly handled. No matter how it was handled, it was poor. It was all poorly handled. It's already cost the quarterback position and choosing Desmond Ridder, anointing him a starter with no competition before 2023 has already cost Arthur Smith his job. Kirk Cousins, the Michael Penix injury, the disaster of special teams, and this is going to be the worst season of the bunch. Out of the 5 years, this is ending up being the worst season of the month. It's going to cost some more people their jobs, for sure. So on that note, I am about to get out of here. And I shut my door and my cat was in here, if you can hear him yelling, because it's almost dinner time. So I'm going to get out of here before he attacks me on screen. That might be worth a few extra views, though. I want to say thank you to several people. First off, G. Bergen, thanks for being a new member, my friend. Be like G. Bergen, become a new member. Mike Harvey is a member and drops a super thank you. Michael Baxter, thank you as well. Juan, thank you, my friend. Todd, Juan came in a couple times. Did I miss one of those? I think I got them both, Juan. Jay Wybeck, special teams really cost us bad. Absolutely. Corey, thank you for the super. Clowns and Todd, thank you, my friends. We'll be back. Just me. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a chance to sleep on this. We'll look at some snap counts, see if any news comes out of this, diagnose some of the post game, because frankly, what the Falcons have said at the press conferences in the last couple of weeks have just made things worse. So I'll be interested to go over that with y'all in the morning. On that note, if you are new here, like and subscribe. Make sure you share this on everywhere you go. And that's all I got for y'all. Thanks so much for joining us on the Gut Reaction. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. It's cold and yucky out there, but enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see y'all tomorrow.